Hi, everyone. Welcome to Learn English with Miss. This has been told from a Native American perspective. What does Thanksgiving mean to Native Americans? To this day, there are two sides of the Thanksgiving story. Sadly, millions of Americans have been taught a single sided history in homes and schools when it comes to the history of Thanksgiving. The prevailing cultural and historical tale was told from the viewpoint of the white colonialists who landed near Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts in 1620. In the Pilgrims version of the Thanksgiving story, the holiday commemorates the happy, welcoming gathering of English colonists and the Wampanoag tribe for 3 days of feasting and Thanksgiving in 1621. News outlets and social media are abuzz with Thanksgiving themes every year. The fact that November is Native American Heritage Month is little covered, or that November 23rd, mostly known as Black Friday, is Native American Heritage Day. To this day, there are two sides to this Thanksgiving story. Tragically, millions of Americans have been taught to believe a single sided story in homes and schools when it comes to the history of Thanksgiving. Over and over, it has been told from the perspective of the white colonialists who landed close to Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts in 1620. Very few teachers realized that construction headdresses, also known as war bonnets, and school reenactments create a generalized stereotype that Native Americans all wear the same regalia, when in actuality they do not. These school activities also encourage young students to think it is okay to wear culture as a costume. All of this makes it hard for students to recognize the diversity of Native American tribes. It also allows students to believe it's okay to mimic Native American traditional wear without truly understanding the cultural and spiritual significance of it all. Students are not told of the many massacres that took place during those times, or even in the year 1637, when the Pequot Massacre took place against the Native Americans by Puritans of Massachusetts. They also do not mention that English settlers robbed Wampanoag graves and stole food from them in order to survive during the first years on this new continent. Here's a look at some of the reasons why Thanksgiving is a complex holiday and one that all Americans should approach with greater sensitivity. Thanksgiving is a day of mourning for some Native tribes. We cannot forget that for many Native Americans, Thanksgiving is a day of mourning and protest since it commemorates the arrival of settlers in North America and the centuries of oppression and genocide that followed after. For the last 51 years, the United American Indians of New England have organized a rally and day of mourning on Thanksgiving. Here's what they have to say about this choice to mourn. Thanksgiving is a day that is a reminder of the genocide of millions of Native people, the theft of Native lands, and the relentless assault on Native culture. Participants in National Day of Mourning honor Native ancestors and the struggles of Native peoples to survive today. It is a day of remembrance and spiritual connection, as well as a protest of the racism and oppression which Native Americans continue to experience. Some Native Americans mourn publicly and openly, while some simply refrain from participating in this national holiday. Thanksgiving is already a way of life for Native Americans. While some Native Americans have chosen to reject the Thanksgiving holiday entirely, many embrace the positive messages of the holiday and choose to put aside thoughts about the complex history of this day. This is because the idea of Thanksgiving is central to Native heritage and culture. And in this way, Thanksgiving is simply a chance to appreciate the good things of life like family, community, and the riches of the land. Long before settlers arrived, Native tribes were celebrating the autumn harvest and the gift of Mother Earth's abundance. Native American spirituality, both traditionally and today, emphasizes gratitude for creation, care for the environment, and recognition of the human need for communion with nature and others. Thanksgiving as a holiday originates from the Native American philosophy of giving without expecting anything in return. In the first celebration of this holiday, the Wampanoag tribe not only provided the food for the feast, but also the teachings of agriculture and hunting, such as corn, beans, wild rice, and turkey, are some specific examples of foods introduced by Native Americans. Now, regardless of the origin of the day, many Native Americans will gather with friends and family and use the day to eat good food. Many of the classic Thanksgiving dishes are inspired by indigenous foods, and this is where they give thanks. In today's video, we learned about Thanksgiving from a Native American point of view. Thank you for watching and learning with me. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.